As you know, the month of May has been for years dedicated to the fundamental topic of mental health awareness. So we are glad to welcome you all to this webinar on mental health and well-being. And I'm Maria Pellicer, Communications Officer at Youth Proactive. And now, just a warm welcome to our guest speaker, Lucia Clickham. Since joining the mental health crowd in 2019, Lucia has played a key role in marketing and communications. This Germany-based social enterprise, active since 2015, focuses on mental health education, widely accessible with online and offline learning formats. They are offering including workshops, lectures, events, and a foundational mental health guide, all emphasizing prevention and normalizing mental health discussions for a diverse audience. And particularly, Lucia spreads awareness about mental health through social media, infusing humor and expertise to inspire the change of society. Her personal experience with mental health challenges empower her as an expert by experience, driving her daily commitment to enhance visibility and rights for those with mental health conditions. As Lucia says, there is no health without mental health. Lucia, thank you very much for joining us today, and I think this biography demonstrates that it's possible to make a difference and improve our society overall well-being. And definitely, we are all looking forward to hearing you from your daily expertise and mental health crowd.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today. I'm really looking forward to today.
Thank you. And now we can move to our dialogue. And in this sense, I would like to kindly remind you all that our chat is open to write any potential questions that you may have, and we will address them in our Q&A section after the interview. So, Lucia, we have already organized our discussion in three main areas. As you can see in the screen, our first area covers mental health strategies for youth. In this sense, and as the Communications and Marketing Officer of Mental Health Crowd, could you share some specific strategies or initiatives developed by your organization to promote proactive mental health care, particularly among young people?
Yeah, I can do that for sure. So first off, mental health is important to every single one of us. But especially for young people, because after years of COVID and isolation, it has just been really, really tough on young people. And also now with war in Europe and climate change, it is just a really tough time. And these are only the struggles that come from outside in. So imagine on top of that, the normal struggles we all have as young people, like where do I want to go in life? What are my goals? Who do I want to be as a person? And every so on. So that's pretty usual stress and struggles every human being has. Um, but it's really just tough for young people at the moment because there's so much going on and they have to kind of deal with all their internal stress as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's just really tough to be young right now, I feel like. So we try to concentrate on giving knowledge about mental health to young people via social media because we really think that it should be accessible to everybody. So mental health education, where can you get it? You don't get it in school. We don't learn anything about mental health in school, even though we think it's really important to learn stuff about mental health during your school time, but it's just not the case. So what we think is that we have to go where young people are, and young people nowadays are on social media. And that's why we have a lot of educational content on social media. It's accessible, it's free, and you can watch it whenever you want. Um, it's a lot in German, so we are trying to change that too, so have it in English and being even more accessible. Um, so yeah, that's what we do a lot. We try to do it in a fun way because it kind of is a heavy topic and people have a lot of stigma around that topic. So that's why we try to make it a little lighter and a little funner, because then people really want to talk and think about the topic, because it's much more fun to really think of a topic that is fun than a topic that is like presented really heavily. And yeah, so that's why
Mm-hmm.
we do it on social media that way. But we also have local projects going on for young people at the moment. And one program, it's a pilot program, it's called Uni for Mind. And
Mm-hmm.
we have a selection of young students at two universities in Germany that got trained in mental health prevention. So we developed a training course on how to, yeah, take care of your mental health, and what it includes, what mental health even means. And yeah, we give strategies and tips on how to take care of your mental health. And we train these students in that training course, and they go through the training, and then they are able to give that insight knowledge to their fellow students. And the cool thing about that project is we established a mental health cafe located on their campus. So they
Mm-hmm.
kind of have a location where they can meet up and sit together and talk about mental health. Um, yeah, that's really, really cool. And also, the students arrange events during the whole year about mental health at their campuses, such as, I don't know, movie nights or book clubs or discussion rounds. And it's all about mental health. And yeah, I think that's a really cool program, and I'm really looking forward to it. And also, it should be established at the campus or at the uni permanently. So that means that next year, the students that were trained by us will train other students. So it kind of, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
goes on and on over years. And yeah, the knowledge kind of stays in the community of the students. And I think it's a really cool system. You can just drink some coffee and talk about mental health, and yeah, have these cool events coming up. Yeah, that's one thing we do this year. And the last thing that we do, especially for young people, are school projects. So we really go into classes, into classrooms, and talk with the students. I think most of the time it's ninth graders. Um, and talk with them about mental health, because they really want to talk about mental health. They just have nowhere to go with their topics. So every time we get into the class and be like, hey, you guys, do you know anything about mental health? They know a lot. They want to know a lot. They want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
They're really interested in the topic. And yeah, that's oftentimes they tell us that this is the first time they were really able to talk about their struggles. And yeah, we give them tips and little tools to take care of their mental health during school time, during exam time. Yeah, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what we do, especially for young people. Yeah.
Ninth grade, what are the years exactly?
Oh, I think ninth graders are between 13 and 14, maybe 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's different in different countries. Yeah, ninth graders. Yeah.
Yeah, so nice to start so young. I remember that I started going to therapy when I was 17,
Hmm.
and it was just with COVID season. And in Spain, we have to pass a very difficult exam to get into college.
Yeah.
So I was like very stressed with the pandemic situation. And I remember that my mom helped me to go to therapy because she played this game saying that if I went to therapy, I could have the badge to go outside the house.
Oh,
So
wow.
I said yes to that, but
Yeah.
thanks to that, I realized that it was so helpful
Yeah.
and so necessary in all the stages because now I think I also need it, but because of other reasons.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very necessary.
I really, really think that it could be helpful for every single person. It
Mm-hmm.
isn't it isn't essential for everybody or necessary for everybody, but helpful, definitely. So I think
Mm-hmm.
therapy is just the best. I love therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but everything
Yeah.
around that, the prevention factor is so important.
Mm-hmm.
To not get sick, to not learn about mental health, just then when you get sick. Like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's just a little too late. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So talking about that, our second question is focused on the role of communication. So from your point of view, how vital is the role of communication strategies and visibility in strengthening support for mental health initiatives, and particularly, like we said, focus on prevention and early intervention?
It's vital. It's so, so, so important because, as we said, the topic is severely stigmatized. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so every time I go into a class and ask them, okay, what words do you think of first when you hear the word mental health? And most of the time, the people think of mental illness. And mental illness is a part of mental health, definitely, no questions asked. And it's a really important one, but it's not the only one. And that's so important to know. Um, and there's just so much more to mental health than we think of in the first moment. And to give an example, so if I think of physical health, I don't think, not the first thing that comes to my mind is diabetes, heart diseases, and cancer, for example. But the first thing that comes to my head is, I don't know, nutrition, sports, good sleep, maybe supplements, pollution, and it's just not the same with mental health. So that's why it is so important. We have to talk about it in a different way. We have to show people that it's just a lot more than just being mentally ill. And also important is, how do we talk about it? I think I mentioned it before a little bit, but the topic um, the topic seems to be really, really hard, seems to be really heavy and really sad. And you think of black and white images and sad piano music. And that's a big problem because I wouldn't be comfortable yeah, learning stuff about a topic that is so heavy. Um, but it's, in reality, it's not. Mental health can be so much fun. Mental health is so much more than this heavy stuff. And we have to normalize the topic a little bit. Mental health is a thing that is important to every single one of us, and not only to people that are sick currently, but for everybody. As is physical health, you're not starting to brush your teeth after you lost all of them. You start brushing your teeth before that. Um, and a big issue is that because we don't normalize the topic, people don't get help. And the really sad thing is that 49% of young people in Europe have no access to psychosocial support. And that's also a thing because we don't talk about it. Politicians don't really notice that it's a really, really big issue, that we don't have enough therapists, that we need therapists here to yeah, get them healthy again or get us healthy again. And um yeah, just make it a little lighter. Let's talk about it in a normal way, even with our friends. It makes such a big difference. And every time I talk about mental health with people in my environment, they start opening up. They are like, "Oh yeah, I had a struggle with anxiety last year too." And it's just not that small of a topic to just ignore it and not talk about it, because I don't know if you knew, but 1 in 2 people in Europe had symptoms of anxiety or depression in the last 12 months. That's 50%. That's so many people. So it affects everybody. Um, so that's why I think communication is just one of the biggest things. but also the visibility part of it. I feel like not only mental health is stigmatized, but people with mental illnesses are stigmatized as well. So mentally ill people can do a lot of things still. They can still have relationships. They can still go to work or to school. Or as you said, you can still have your final exams and still have a mental illness. Um, and people with mental illnesses are not incapable. Um, and it's also not a problem. Like mental illness is not a problem that only affects people with, I don't know, difficult pasts or unstable backgrounds. It's not like that. Um, yeah, people can get mentally sick uh, without it having to do with anything around the social status. So I think it's really important to have people with mental illnesses show the other people, the world, that it's really possible to still have work, still have a fulfilling life, even with that mental illness. Um, and I think also a thing of visibility is that people always think that changing your life into like a mentally healthy life has to be this big thing, this I need 1 day off a week just for spa day, I don't know, or take 3 hours off of work every day to become mentally healthy. But it's not the big things that we think of. There are so many small things that you can implement in your daily life that make your mental health so much better and so much healthier. And I think that's really important to show too. Like mental health or like self-care doesn't have to be this big thing. So it's, yeah, I think show that. That's really cool as well. Um, and also, yeah, I think what's really important for young people as well are role models. And I think it gets so much better nowadays. Seeing people really prioritizing their mental health, really saying, okay, no, I'm going to take care of my own needs. And that's a priority for me. And so I think it's really important for us, like older people, I don't know, I'm 26, but talking about mental health, showing what it means to take care of yourself, having boundaries, talking about boundaries and I don't know, communication styles. And there's so much to learn, and seeing people really doing that is, yeah, just eye-opening and really wonderful. Yeah.
I totally agree. I think in the past generations they normalized the fact of being exhausted, that tiring, and arriving at the end of the day and feeling tired and yeah, sad. And I think now we are doing the change of mentality where we are sharing and communication to the younger people that that is not normal and
Yeah.
that yeah, everybody needs help and it's okay to ask for it.
Yeah.
So yeah. And lastly, let's talk about your personal development experience. And I want to know how was working for mental health crowd impacted your personal development and mental well-being.
Yeah, so okay, I thought about that question a lot because I really think that it impacted me in my whole personality. So first of all, I'm 26 and I'm so lucky to being able to say that I love my job. So I actually have a mental illness by myself too, actually. I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder and depression. And the mental health crowd gives me the freedom to be able to work even with my illnesses, or maybe exactly because of my illnesses. I don't know. Um, and yeah, really realizing I had never really learned to take care of my mental health. My parents never really learned it. Nobody showed me how to take care of my mental health, and realizing that was such a big eye opener for me. I was like, oh, now it makes sense. So yeah, it made me, yeah, a different person, I think. I started really implementing routines into my daily life for my mental health. I started prioritizing my mental health. I'm really happy to having a work environment that fully supports me in my healing journey and being able to go to therapy regularly. And also, I'm in an inpatient program where I, yeah, go into that inpatient program every, yeah, 6 months to 12 months. And it's really awesome that I have that chance to be working or being able to work and also healing myself and going to therapy. Um, yeah, also I really got involved into politics, and I'm really into politics now because talking openly about my struggles and demanding changes um, in society and in politics and in laws, that made me glow up so much, I think. It really got me a lot of self-confidence, and also, yeah, standing up for myself and standing up for my rights and feeling like I'm part of a big group of people who struggle with their mental health, and standing there and being like, you need to change that. We need to do better. That was really, really cool. And I think, yeah, I kind of, yeah, I had a glow up during my work at Mental Health Crowd. I started in 2019, so it's been 5 years. And yeah, I think I also changed my little environment, my personal environment. I started talking about the topic nonstop with my friends, with my family, with everybody I meet. I'm really open about my illnesses, and I always get positive feedback back because, yeah, people struggle. People struggle everywhere. And when you start talking about the topic, they will all get in and join in and talk with you um, about the topic, and that was really beautiful. And yeah, it I think it changed my personality, to be honest. Yeah.
So cool. Also, I think it's a way to see that you are not alone in that, and you are not the only person.
Yeah.
So sometimes we tend to think, why does this happens to me? I cannot do anything to change that. But in our atmosphere, we have a lot of people in the same situations or struggling with other aspects. And yeah, and talking to them, you can find a solution. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's very cool.
Yeah, it is.
So, so Lucia, an immense thanks for your presence and the comprehensive responses that you provided today. And I believe I'm speaking on behalf of everybody here present, that when I say that your work and your dedication have inspired and expanded our horizons. But however, this conversation is not over. So it's time to turn our attention to the chat, or if you want to ask any question to Lucia by microphone, you can also put your hand and feel free to ask the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Lucia. I have indeed one question that has resonated a lot when you have just mentioned this political aspect of your work and how this has also impacted yourself, no? Working in your organization has also raised your awareness of the political implications of mental health. And I was shocked now when you mentioned two key data, no? You said that, maybe I'm wrong, 49% of young people don't have access to psychological help, and
Yeah.
1 out of 2 are developing, how you say it, anxiety symptoms, no?
Anxiety and depression.
Anxiety and depression. So my question, because you just mentioned that your organization is providing all this, support, all these courses, all these workshops to 9th grade students between 13 and 14.
Yeah.
What is the political implication of all of this? Because definitely when we talk about advocacy, when we talk about political outcomes, how all this knowledge that you are grasping from your organization, from yourself, raising your political awareness, how can we modify the political discourse? Because definitely there are political solutions. Definitely this 49%, this needs, to be modified politically, and those are, social policy solutions that can be created from the government itself. So how can we fill this gap between what you mental health crown are doing, are supporting, and what is provided from the political side in your own experience, and also considering that you are politically committed?
Yeah. So for me, I think the most helpful thing that we could implement would be a subject called life. We don't have to do a subject that is called mental health, but a subject called life, because we don't really, so for me in Germany, we don't learn a lot about taxes, about, I don't know, cooking, about all the stuff that is really hard to figure out later after school, and also nothing about mental health here. So I think if we had a subject called life in Europe, in every single school, and everybody had to deal with all these topics, that would change a lot, a lot, a lot. Um, I don't know if that's possible. I don't know. It's in Germany, bureaucracy is big, so it's really hard to pull through anything. But I think that will be really, really cool. But also for us in Germany, it's really hard to get a therapy space. So we have a lot of therapists, but the problem is with the health insurances not paying like private therapists. So there are an amount of therapists that are not private, and you can go to them, and health insurance pay for them, but not everybody gets paid. So that's why we don't have enough space and enough time for everybody who wants to go to therapy. So we have to change that. And I think put in prevention programs everywhere you can, in workspaces, at uni, for police, for fire workers, for everywhere you can think of. Just put mental health prevention programs in, because people need to learn how to take care of their mental health, and then the mental illness rate will go down for sure. Yeah.
Wow, thank you very much. Definitely prevention and life. I mean, maybe it sounds like a dream at the moment, but having a subject like European level, the same way that, in some countries we have like culture studies that we learn about the European Union. This could
Yeah.
be okay, advocacy efforts,
Yeah. I would love that.
working on it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have another question in the chat by Zainab, and she says, "What are some of the biggest challenges you face in making mental health education accessible and engaging through your workshops and lectures at Mental Health Crowd?"
Yeah, there have been a lot of challenges, to be honest, because everything we do over social media is free for sure. But everything else, companies don't really want to put money in hand and pay for mental health programs. They don't really want to. They think, okay, let's just implement a yoga lesson once a month, and then we're fine with the prevention thing. And that's a really big problem, because it's not that simple. If yoga would heal every sickness, that would be great, but it's not the case. So it's really, really difficult to get the funding. So some of the companies we work together with really understand that mental health is so important, because also the sick days of people with mental illnesses have risen so high. So they start to kind of get that they have to change something in order to have healthy workers. So it's getting better, but I think the funding, yeah, I think the mindset has to change. The mindset from, oh, that's a nice add-on for my workers here. It's not an add-on, it's a necessity. So we have to implement these programs in working spaces. And for school, so we have this kind of low budget plan for school projects, so that yeah, so that every school can kind of book us, and so that we can have workshops there. But it sometimes it is challenging, but because even the lower, cheaper amount of money is sometimes too high for the schools. And most of the time we figure it out, but it's not that easy. And with a Uniform Mind project, we actually work together with a healthcare company, and they funded the program because they think it's important, and that's really nice. Yeah.
So good. I have a question myself, and if you could like sum up a message to the young people that are struggling with mental health, what would you tell them? And also, what are your visions of the future about this?
Okay, I'm thinking about it, because I'm a
Mhm.
young person myself still.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm Gen Z. Um, so I think what's really important is to just open our mouths, talk about it, and demand change, because we are doing that already. I think even more so in workspaces. Like we tell our bosses that we can't work 70 hours a week because it's not healthy, and we're not going to do that. So I think we are on a good path. But yeah, talking about it even more in everywhere we can. I think that's a really important thing. And also, yeah, my favorite quote is health without there's no health without mental health. So if you really want to stay healthy and, I don't know, become old, then you have to take care of your mental health as well. And I think that young people already realize that life with a shitty mental health is really, really hard and really difficult and not joyful. And yeah, good mental health is just key for a fulfilling and happy life. Yeah, and let's just keep that going, spread the word, talk about it. And my vision for the future, that's a really interesting question. So for me, I would love to have a society that doesn't differentiate between physical illness and mental illness. I want to get chocolate brought home when I'm sick too, even if it's my head that is sick, you know? Um, I would love that. I would love for people not kind of acting sad and being like really anxious about talking about the topic, and being kind of nervous around me because I'm mentally ill. That would be awesome. And also, yeah, just having a world where people can just share their struggles, talk about their struggles, and are not considered weak. Yeah, I think this is what I wish for. And a subject life, I guess.
Cool. Very good. We have another question in the chat from Sahim, and it is, how did you successfully persuade individuals who were hesitant to participate in discussions or attend events regarding mental health because they feared being judged or discriminated against?
Yeah, that's a really, really important question. Well, I think that our way to go is always to share something personal ourselves. So we start every seminar, every workshop with talking about our own mental health struggles because it just makes us relatable. It shows that it's not weak to have a mental illness, and that we're not crazy people. So I think that helps a lot, but it is a difficulty. In workspaces, especially, we sometimes do really, really cool, innovative workshop environments. So, for example, we do Lego, the little play things, and
Yeah.
serious play workshops. So we sit there around tables and have these little Lego serious play things, and they have exercises to do, like, okay, build mental health. You have 5 minutes, let's go. And sometimes this different environment makes it easier to open up about the topic. But also, I think one important thing is that we don't talk about personal struggles in that workshop. We don't talk about, like, you have to share what kind of anxiety you have felt in the last 3 years. We don't do that in that way. So it's not a therapy session. It's more of a, yeah, educational session. So it's a little easier to talk about it in, like, in a distance than to talk about yourself. And oftentimes when some people start opening up, then others go and open up as well. And that happens almost every time. Yeah. That's how we do it.
So nice. I only knew the dynamics of cafes, like in linguistic cafes, as you
Yeah.
said in the college, and I think it's very innovative to bring that dynamic to the mental health and do this activity where you can talk about it, and yeah, it's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Um, Let me see the chat again. So Olga asked, could you share with us how we can recognize mental illness?
Yeah, definitely. It kind of depends a little bit if you want to recognize it in yourself or in others. So in yourself, it's not even that hard to recognize, to be honest, because most of the time, the first thing that happens is that your body gets sick. So you have trouble concentrating, you have trouble sleeping, you have trouble with eating more or eating less. Um, your body just feels weak all the time. That are signs that can show you that maybe a mental illness is about to come. So yeah, first off, always look at the body, look at how you feel, how your routines are changing. That's the first step to do. And then I would say it's really important to talk about it with a professional because, sometimes we have just difficult, struggling weeks because of, I don't know, certain internal or external events happening. And that doesn't mean that you clearly have a mental illness or you clearly need to go to therapy for the next, I don't know, 6 years. That just means that you struggle at the moment and that you need help at the moment. Um, and I'd say go to your I don't know, I actually don't know the English word, like your doctor, like your personal doctor, that one that, I don't know, is not specialized. Go to that one because they are educated as well and they know what to do and which questions to ask. But um if you feel like you're losing motivation, you have a lack of social interaction because you don't want to see people anymore, stuff that you liked is not that important to you anymore. These are all warning signs where you can say, okay, I need to see what's going on. And yeah, getting help for that is really, really good. It's better to get help with that. Also maybe ask your friends, have I changed in my appearance? Have I changed? How am I handling situations? Am I different? Ask your friends, ask your family, everybody that is around you all the time. And for the other way around, so if you want to see if somebody else is struggling with their mental health, then I'd say normally we have quite a good gut feeling about it. So when we think something is going on, then it's always better to just ask. Ask if something is going on, ask them if they need help, if they need support, and ask them more than once. So because when I think back to me being in a really tough depressive episode, and somebody was like, Lou, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? Is something going on? I don't think that the first time it would have been like, oh yeah, somebody's asking, nice, cool, I'm gonna share everything. So keep on asking, keep on checking in, just be there, and tell them, okay, if something's wrong, you can always come to me, you can always talk to me. You don't have to, but you can always talk to me and come back. I think that's really important, and the gut feeling thing is always a good idea. Yeah. Oh, love goes around. Yeah.
Okay, so if we don't have more questions, we can start wrapping up this webinar. But before, a big thanks again to Lucia. Thank you for joining us, and all the ones that have joined the webinar. And I would like to invite you all to join us in our upcoming Youth Goal webinar on the topic of information and constructive dialogue. And it will take place next May 30th. But you can see it in the screen. There is a QR code, so you can register if you scan it. And also we are sharing the link to the event in the chat. But meanwhile, thank you so much, Lucia. And until we meet again, wishing you all a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lucia. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.